Hi there, boys and girls. In this video, I'm going to be talking with you about making a collage that tells a story, and specifically a folk story. One of the things that you'll see on the webpage this week is a link to a story called Doña Flor, and it's a great story to listen to understand a little bit about folk stories. The purpose of folk stories is to try to explain things, natural phenomena, um, in a way that people can understand. And usually it's sort of a way that doesn't really seem like it would be possible. For example, in that story, the wind is blowing really hard because it's angry. Or in the picture that I'm showing you here, I decided that a reason why we have hailstorms in summer, which is where ice falls from the sky, is because a giant spilt dropped its cup of drink, and the ice cubes from his giant drink fell out and they're falling down. Now, is that likely? No. But is it kind of a fun explanation of why we might have hailstorms that a giant spilled his drink? Sure, it's kind of fun. So I want you to think of a fun or silly way that something in nature might happen. Like, why do we have earthquakes? How did the Grand Canyon happen? Why does it rain on sunny days? Um, and think of your own fun reason for why that might happen. And then you're going to want to get some materials to try to make your artwork with. Um, some things you might use might be cereal boxes, magazine pages. You can use newspaper. You can really use any type of materials you want. There are no limits to what you can make your artwork out of. So with mine, I decided that I was going to make mine about a rainbow. So what I've been doing before this video started was I was cutting out some sort of semicircular shapes out of different colors of paper to try to make my rainbow shape. And then I'm going to glue those on top of each other. So my story is going to try to explain why we have rainbows. And you'll notice that some of my papers have writing on them, and that's all right. If that bothers you, what I'll do sometimes is I'll turn the paper sideways so you can't see so the writing is harder to understand. But if it has writing in it, that's all right. That's one of the things that gives your artwork with collage kind of a unique texture, is that the details are things that don't always have to do with your artwork. It kind of gives it a little bit of extra designs and details to it. So I'm gluing my smaller and smaller kind of quarter circles. And then to make it look kind of like a rainbow, I'm going to make this bottom one actually an arc. And then I'm going to kind of cut the ends to give it look almost kind of like it's still being made, because my folktale is going to be more about how a rainbow is made. So but what you make yours about is up to you. Maybe think of something you've been curious about, and then think of a fun explanation for it. Now, one thing I will suggest to you with your collage is to try and lay things out the way you want them before you cut them out. Just so you can try to have a feel for where you want things. And I'm going to use kind of a bag, I think, to make a cloud that this is going to be coming out of. And I'm going to try to glue that down. And my fun explanation of how these happen is that they're going to occur because of a paintbrush that flies through the sky. That's kind of fun and silly, isn't it? So sort of like a magical paintbrush. And I cut out a few different pieces to make my magical paintbrush. And it's going to literally kind of go through the sky and paint things. And I thought my magical paintbrush should have some wings to it. So what I'm going to do is give it some wings. And one way to make sure that you have things the same shape is that you can fold things. And I'm going to draw my shape first so that I can make sure it goes just the way I want. But then if I do it with it folded, I'll get them the same. And if I draw it first, I'll make sure that they both turn out exactly the way I want. Now it is harder to cut through cardboard like I'm doing, so be careful. Newspaper, any other paper is easier than cardboard, and fabric is a little tricky too. But this is about embracing what you happen to have on hand. Now one thing you've noticed me using is glue, and if you don't have glue, you can still do collage. You'll just end up not being able to glue yours down to make it permanent. So once you get it laid out, take a photo, and then you can have it that way. So there are my wings. And then what I'm going to try to do is figure out where I want it to be. So I'm going to put mine down like that. Then I think my brush is going to be kind of looking like it's swooping down to paint it and finish it off like that. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. So have fun with it. Be creative. Think of something you want to explain. And I'd love to see them when you're done. You can send me a Google form that shows me your picture. You can have your family help you put it on Twitter so I could see it, but I would love to see your artwork when you're done. But most of all, have fun and be creative. Bye.